Hi there, my name is Michelle Grasek. I am a practicing acupuncturist and the host of the Acupuncture Marketing School podcast. And today we are going to talk about micro marketing or micro content and how effective that can be. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank the American Acupuncture Council for the opportunity to be here with you. All right, let's get into the slides. Okay. So today we're talking about micro marketing, or you might have seen it called micro content. And the subheading here says 10 minutes a day or less. You don't even have to do this daily. The reason that I really wanted to talk about this is that I have noticed, I am sure you have noticed, everyone has noticed, that lots of us are very stressed out. Most people are at max capacity for their to-do list, and stress is simply very high lately. Seems to be across the board. So how can we continue getting visible for our practices consistently in a very low lift way? So that's really what micro marketing is about, okay? And I found that even on a good day, on days where we're not super stressed, where things in the world are calm and there's nothing extraneous for us to worry about, that we, as acupuncturists, we often find it difficult to set aside time for marketing because we would just rather be treating patients. So this is for you pretty much no matter the cause, whatever the reason that you have a hard time setting aside time for marketing, this will be really useful for you. Okay. And the big idea here is simply that consistency beats perfection or making things that are complex, right? If you are showing up regularly, even in tiny ways, in the digital world, in your community, in real life, it aggregates over time, right? It really matters and it makes a difference compared to not showing up at all. Okay. So this is really about those small actions having big results over time. They really build on each other and snowball. So that's what makes it worth it, even though these actions are going to seem really pretty tiny. So what is this micro marketing? Or again, sometimes it might be called micro content online. It is really simple, brief marketing that you can create and then hit publish in less than 10 minutes. So let me skip ahead a slide here. Key features of micro content or micro marketing are that we are not overthinking it. We are asking ourselves, what's a frequently asked question I can answer? How can I answer that in 3 to 5 sentences? What format would work best for me today? Text, video, a Canva graphic, and what platform am I going to choose to publish it on? And then just hit publish. Okay. So sort of going with your gut for what you think your audience or your community needs to learn to help remove a barrier between them and making an appointment, and then just putting that content out there, and then it's over with, it's done. Okay. You can move on to better things for the rest of your day. So some examples of micro content or micro marketing is really any time that you repurpose anything. I consider this a type of micro marketing because your workload in repurposing something is like 10% compared to the effort required to create it the first time. So for example, if you had an Instagram post that did really well, maybe you take the caption and you repurpose it as an email newsletter, or you had a blog post and you repurpose it as an email newsletter. You can go in any direction with repurposing content. The idea is simply that you are not recreating the wheel. You are copying and pasting as much as possible and then just making small tweaks so that it makes sense for the new platform. Okay. So probably changing your call to action if you're going from Instagram to an email newsletter or vice versa. But it requires so little thought or decision making and no new content creation, which is the bulk of our effort, that I consider this to be micro marketing. You can also resend an email that you sent in years past. I do this all the time. Okay, I have a couple emails that tend to do really well, especially my knee pain for osteoarthritis knee pain email that I send to my list of current patients and potential patients. I have been in this location for 6 years, and I believe I've sent that email 3 times, 4 times. No one ever complains, "Oh, I remember this from last year." They don't remember. And the number of people who saw it, when you send it again, you're probably going to catch new people who never even saw it the first time. So I like this because you are literally just you're just duplicating a previous email that did well, right? It got engagement. Hopefully you got some new patients on the schedule from that email, and that's your motivation for sending it again. Okay. So whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago, I think that's a sufficient amount of time to start resending emails. And that way you're not writing them from scratch. A really simple video to create if you are looking for a reel, or a video for a reel for Facebook or Instagram, is to just do a quick walkthrough tour of your office. It's nice because it's pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to put text or captions on it. Okay. You can also share that to your Google Business profile if it's under 30 seconds. And then really any update that you want to do to your Google Business profile, I consider powerful, but miniature, right? So maybe you add a new photo to your Google Business profile, or you add an update. You know how you can add, it's sometimes called a post and sometimes called an update. It's like a micro blog. You just share a picture and like 3 or 4 sentences and then a link like read more here or book here. Or maybe you just update the description of your Google Business profile, or you update your services with keywords, right? So all of these are very small actions, less than 10 minutes, that actually have a big impact. And before we move on, I want to explain, I did a previous video about updating your Google Business profile and why that matters, and how to do that in ways that really get Google's attention. But Google is happy anytime you make an update to your profile, because this helps give Google confidence that your business is active. Whenever you are posting fresh content on your Google Business profile, it's a strong signal to Google that it can have confidence in providing your business as the answer to someone's search query. Okay, so don't discount those tiny micro actions that update your Google Business profile. Those count, and they really matter. Okay, so why does this work? I'm sure you can guess, but let's go through these really briefly. This approach to marketing, even if you're just doing 10 minutes a week, if you are consistent, it helps put you in front of your audience over and over again. And I mentioned this earlier, but that is so much better than just not showing up at all and saying, oh, I don't have 2 hours set aside for my marketing this week. I can't do a big marketing project. I'm not just going to do anything. Instead, do something tiny and count it as a win, because it is, right? It helps you avoid burnout, so you can do this for the long term, and it really does help keep you in front of your audience and in front of Google in terms of search engine optimization. Okay. And of course, it makes the social media algorithms happy when you publish anything, and that makes the algorithms show you to more people. Okay. You get more visibility. And the more that you are showing up consistently, even if it's only in these tiny ways each week, it builds trust with your audience, because they know that they can visit your Instagram profile, for example, and learn something new or see an update from you. Even if it's just that you're consistent with stories and you're not putting anything on your Instagram grid, that can still work really well, because some Instagram users still primarily just focus on Instagram stories. They're not even looking at people's grids. So you're going to catch a subset of the population of your community, even if you are just posting something on an Instagram story each week. Okay. And then, of course, I just talked about how important Google Business Profile updates are for search engine optimization and getting Google to pay attention to you and show you as a search result. So I have two 10-minute formulas. You probably don't need these formulas, but I just want to put them out there as concepts for if you sit down at your desk and you're saying, okay, I want to do some kind of marketing, something micro, but I don't know where to begin. So there's really two options for you. So the first is to just pick a frequently asked question that you get about your specialty. We'll take cosmetic acupuncture for an example. That's my specialty. How many treatments do I need? Or why do I need so many treatments? Or how does cosmetic acupuncture help build collagen? Or how is it different from microneedling? Any of those would be great, right? And answer it in like 3 to 5 sentences. So one paragraph, very brief. Again, we're not overthinking it. We're not writing a 3,000-word blog post or a dissertation. This is helpful, not just for us, but if we are burnt out and we're having a hard time focusing and dialing in and doing deep work, probably our patients and the people who are consuming our content are as well. So do them a favor and give them something bite-sized that they can quickly absorb and understand that doesn't require them to set aside time to focus on the content and learn an answer. Okay, so quick wins are great for our audience as well. So then pick a platform where you're going to share this. Maybe it's in your email newsletter. You're going to send the email newsletter answering that one question. Maybe you're just going to make it into a Facebook post, but hit publish and then you're done. Okay, so that's your first option, answer a frequently asked questions. So your second option is simply repurposing or sharing content that you already created. So we discussed repurposing already, where maybe you had an Instagram reel that did really well. So then you take the caption and you send that, for example, as an email newsletter. So it's the same content, but a different platform. So that's repurposing, of course. Resharing would be actually sharing that same reel onto your Instagram account a second time. Okay. And as long as you sent it a little while ago, it's totally fine. Remember that not all of your audience saw it the first time. And most of my marketing clients, if they're going to do this resharing, they're picking something that they shared 5-6 months or more in the past. So it's been a while, right? It's not something that they shared last week that they're repurposing. It's also important to, of course, to pick content that did well to begin with. Hopefully something that got good engagement, likes, comments, shares, and saves are really important engagement metrics to look at on Instagram, click-throughs to your website. And if at all possible, if you know that you had an Instagram reel or post, or Facebook, if that's your preference, that actually got new patients to sign up, then obviously, that's the outcome we all want. That's the one you want to share again. Okay. So don't be afraid to do that. I know people are always worried, my audience is going to notice. If you shared it a couple months ago, they are not going to notice. They're not going to say anything, especially if it's 6+ months ago. I think it's a great choice. So I feel like that's your best bet if you are truly crunched for time or just out of ideas, right? Resharing a post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. that you shared in the past is the lowest lift possible type of micro marketing that you can do. Okay, so those are your options. You can answer an FAQ and create a tiny piece of content and then just hit publish, or you can reshare something, or you can repurpose something to a different platform. Okay. So a few more tools to help you with this. Hopefully you are familiar with the graphic design website Canva. I use the free version. It's amazing. You can create templates that match your clinic's branding, and you can just duplicate the template and you can change the words, and it's very easy to use that to create carousel posts for Instagram, for example, or graphics for Facebook to to make this process really simple so you are not making graphics from scratch every time. And I really encourage the use of ChatGPT or any Gemini, any other AI that really will help you with brainstorming or outlining content, especially if you're feeling stuck, if you've got a bit of brain fog, or you just really want to hammer it out and be done with it. Ask ChatGPT for help. Okay, it will speed up your process and help you refine your final results so much compared to doing it by yourself. I really encourage it. Okay. And then, of course, using any sort of social media scheduling platform. I like Later. It is paid. I think it's $16 a month for Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. The list goes on. But you can also just use the scheduling options that are built into Meta for Facebook and Facebook and Instagram. But this is nice because if you are resharing content that you already created, the Meta platforms can make it really easy to just reshare in a couple of clicks. Okay, so Meta Business Suite and the content tab is really your friend here. Okay, so a couple more things. People, when I talk about these micro marketing approaches and people really just, they're having a hard time and they don't want to do marketing, here are some of the questions that come up. So one is, I don't know what to post. So in that case, I recommend going through your FAQs that you get about your specialty and just pick an FAQ and start there. It usually gets the ideas flowing pretty quickly, and then use ChatGPT to help you if you need it. If lots of people are like, I hate video, I don't want to create reels, no problem. Text works well. On Instagram, the algorithm is actually still prioritizing carousels slightly over reels. So carousels, if you're not familiar, are still images, but you publish multiple in a single Instagram post instead of just one static image. So people have to swipe through. I'm sure you've seen these if you have spent any time on Instagram. So if you hate video, it's totally fine. Use Canva to create graphics instead, or focus on a type of content that is mostly about writing, like writing an email newsletter or a very short blog post. Okay. And then, of course, if people tell me they don't have time, that is when I refer them to resharing a post that they created in the past. Because as I said earlier, it is the shortest, the easiest. You're sharing the content again in just a few clicks. So action item for you, or some homework, however you'd like to phrase it, would be to set a 10-minute timer, pick an FAQ, answer it, choose your platform, and hit publish. And then the little bonus thing that you can do is ask your audience to share it, right? If you're on Instagram, you could tell people, in the comments, if you know someone who's struggling with, we'll say migraines is what you talked about in the post, tag them here. Or in your email newsletter, I always recommend putting in the footer of your email newsletter a PS, like postscript. If you know anyone who is struggling with migraines, please forward this to them. We're accepting new patients. It would be our honor to help your friends and your family feel better. Okay, so try to, if you have the extra brain cells, try to ask people to share it, because that increases your reach without you having to do anything. But if that is too much, too many extra steps, that's okay too, because at least you published the thing. Okay, so again, to summarize, micro content is really easy, really basic, but consistent, and it snowballs over time. Okay, it gets you that visibility and engagement and builds trust with your audience over time. So as always, thank you so much for being here. If you have questions, you are always welcome to send me an email, michelle@michellegrasek.com. I love getting your marketing questions. Clearly, I love talking about marketing. I also have a low-cost marketing membership called the Snack Size Marketing Club. You are welcome to join me inside. It is a monthly membership where we have suggestions for marketing to do each week. Keep it very simple. And before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the American Acupuncture Council one more time for the opportunity to be here with you today. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time.